Hello all, Dr. Andrew Von Plitt here again, doing a quick live stream with some Taiji thought. I know this one's pretty late compared to most of my live streams, but it's been a somewhat long day, and I also took a little bit of time out today to watch the first episode of season 3 of Star Trek Picard. So that took a little bit of my evening up, but I think it was well worth it. So I really enjoyed that. Today I'm just going to be giving a couple shout outs, going to be responding to some comments briefly. I don't have as many comments as last time, so this should be a pretty short video. And then I'm also going to share some thoughts from the 10 principles of Tai Chi as dictated by Yang Chung Fu. So hopefully it will be a pretty informative, enjoyable experience for everyone. And we'll go ahead and get started. So first thing I want to do is give some shout outs. We have some new supporting members on the channel. And so I want to say thank you to these new supporting members. The first one is Veronica Sunshine, and she has now been a member for 4 days. So thank you, Veronica Sunshine, for joining the channel, being a supporting member. Really appreciate that. The next one is JOA. Again, thank you very much, JOA, for being a supporting member. And then the most recent one, as of 1 day ago, is Kirk Mills, pardon me, not Meals, Mills, who is also a new supporting member for this channel. So thank you all so much for being supporting members for this channel. Thank you so much for what you do. And thank you to all the supporting members out there for what you do, for being supporting members, and for helping ensure that these videos can happen. And the other videos on my channel can also continue to be made and continue to happen. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Let's go to some comments real quick and respond to those. Someday I will have a very smooth system for doing the comments, but right now, not so smooth. So bear with me for just a moment as I get these pulled up. All right. The first comment, I'm actually not sure if I responded to this one. I think I did, but if I didn't, I'm going to go ahead and respond now just in case. This one is about 6 days old. This is from Nathan Cohens, who's also a supporting member. Thank you, Nathan, for being a supporting member. This was in response to a video that I did, and I responded to a question, slight conversation we were having. And Nathan says, thank you, very encouraged by your words of wisdom. I am, by the way, becoming less aggressive and feel a certain calm over me the more I train. I think I did respond to this one, but I'm going to respond again because it's a really good indication when you're doing training if you feel like you are becoming less aggressive and you're attaining calmness rather than feeling more aggressive and feeling like uptight and like wanting to fight people. So this is great. Really glad to hear that that's where you're headed, Nathan. Thank you for the comment. The next comment is from 11 hours ago. This is from the last Q&A session I did yesterday evening. This one is from Katarina, who is a subscriber. Thank you for being a subscriber. And this is in response to their question about how do you know when you're ready to learn something new, learn a new form, learn a new movement in the form, etc. And so they appreciated the answer that I gave in the last video, and they said they'll keep practicing until they know it by heart and possibly seek out an in-the-flesh teacher, as I advised. So I'm glad to hear that. I'm so glad to hear you're looking for an in-the-person, in-the-flesh teacher that you can work with. That's wonderful. That's ideal. Again, I always encourage everyone to do that. Videos are great. Learning from my channel, I hope, is helping a lot of people. But if you can find someone to work with in person, definitely do that. So congratulations at Katarina for being motivated to memorize and master the Taiji forms, and then also to find a teacher to work with in person. So let's see if there are any other comments that I have missed that I need to respond to. Doesn't look like it. So we'll go ahead and move on to the next portion of this video, which is basically talking about the concept of sinking the shoulders and sinking the elbows in Taiji training. And so let me pull this up. So I have mentioned this book many times. I think it's, sorry, I just dropped something. Hope that wasn't too noisy. I think it's a great resource for people who are learning Yang style Tai Chi and they want some resource material to look at. It's basically translated from old manuscript texts about Yang style, goes through the long form. The version that's in this book is closer to what Yang Chun and the Yang family teaches as kind of a standardized long form right now. So if that's the form that you're learning, that would be a good resource for that. But it also has like some of the Taiji classic writings in the back of the book, and the 10 Taiji principles as dictated by Yang Chung Fu at the front of the book. And so those are great resources in addition to what you can learn about the form itself. So if you're interested in getting that book, there is an affiliate link down in the video description. Of course, you don't have to get it through that link, but I do appreciate it if you do. That helps support this channel and what I do here. For those of you who are new to the channel, if you're looking for a place where you can find my videos and any other resources that I have for helping you learn Tai Chi, you can go to andrewplitt.com. That's ANDREWPLITT.com. And I have everything kind of consolidated and organized on that site, which can be a little bit easier to navigate than finding everything on YouTube and trying to find the right playlist and videos in those playlists. So that's a resource for you. Also, drvonplitt.com. So that's drvonplitt.com. If you are interested in natural medicine, I am a naturopathic doctor. So I am working on adding more and more information to that site as well. So let's go ahead and get into the topic for today. And so there are 10 essentials, kind of 10 essential principles in Tai Chi as dictated by Yang Chung Fu. And there are more principles to Tai Chi. These are kind of the 10 essential ones, if you want to call it that. And so this is a great starting place. And these are typically the basic requirements that people are told when they're beginning Tai Chi. It's like, keep these things in mind, keep these things in your form. Make sure you're doing these things as you practice so that your Tai Chi will be more than just slow movement. And so there's only 10 that he listed. Like I said, there are more, but we're looking at number 5 today. And that one is sink the shoulders and drop the elbows. And I'll go ahead and read what's written in this translation. It says, sink the shoulders means the shoulders are relaxed, open, and allowed to hang down. If one is unable to relax and allow the two shoulders to hang down, they will rise up, and then the chi will also follow them up, and the whole body will lack strength. And so I think I'll go ahead and read about the elbows too. It says similar thing, and then we'll go ahead and discuss it. So then it goes on to say dropping the elbows means relaxing the elbows downward and letting them hang. If the elbows are drawn up, then the shoulders will be unable to sink, and you will not be able to push an opponent far. Isn't that similar to the short energy of the external martial arts? And so the thing I wanted to talk about with this is that there's a physical component to it, which is the position of the shoulders and the elbows. And sometimes that's focused on a little too much because there's also an intentional and a structural component that goes beyond just the position of the shoulders and the elbows. And so typically when you're doing Tai Chi, you do want the shoulders relaxed, right? Like if you're doing Tai Chi and your shoulders are up like this, that's problematic. And that's because it changes the structure of the body so that you're more easily taken off balance, and it holds more tension so that if you've seen the earlier videos that I've done about the importance of relaxation in Tai Chi, when you have tension in the body, it gives your opponent, if you're doing like push hands, kind of an anchor point where they can manipulate your structure. And if you're doing just solo form training, then it basically off balances you in a way that you're going to have to compensate for, and it builds in poor structure in your training. So it is very important to relax the shoulders down. However, it doesn't mean that the shoulders have to be at this level at all times. Like if this happens, say you're doing the movement, maiden weaves with the shuttle. And so you have one hand going up and the other hand pushing, right? This hand that's going up, this shoulder relative to where it was here is raising up, like it's coming up here. But there's a difference between this and this, right? This has a lot of extra tension. This is still relaxed and down, although it's kind of up. And if we think too much about just the position of the shoulders, we also miss a really important concept, really important component to what's really like the important aspect of this. And this is a downward intention at the shoulders and at the elbows. And that downward intention isn't just like, you want heaviness in the shoulders or you want them down. It's that you want a downward intention through the structure of the body that guides any forces against your body to your feet and into the ground. That's the real downward intention at the shoulders and at the elbows. And you feel this when you touch hands with someone doing push hands, even when you're just getting your starting position, you have your wrists crossed, your hands on the elbow. When you're there, the force as it comes in, even if it's exerted on your elbow or on your wrist, you feel that going into your shoulder, into your body. Now, if you let it push in and change your structure, they're going to control your balance. They're going to control, what's going on with your frame. If you lead that energy in and down to the ground by having that downward intention in the body, in the shoulder and the elbow where that force is coming, and not just downward intention at those points like you want them to go toward the floor, but downward intention is in the force that comes to them is going down into your feet, then it changes the dynamics so that you have better stability. You have their force going into the ground's strong enough to handle it, and you're able to maintain your flexibility and your ability to move while handling that force. So I just kind of wanted to talk a little bit about that and bring that extra level, that extra concept of downward intention at the shoulder and the elbow as not being necessarily, just the position of it, and also not being just a downward toward the ground thing. Like if my elbow's out here, my downward intention, I'm gonna move a little bit. If my elbow's out here, my downward intention is not here. It's not like straight down going this way. It's downward through my frame down. That's the downward. And that allows, like I said, that allows that structure to maintain its structure when a force is applied against it. So as you practice, and again, this is something that's kind of further along. This is the fifth of the 10 principles. So there's 4 principles before this that really should be thought of and in place and incorporated in what you're doing before you worry about this one. But for some reason, this one stood out to me today. So hopefully, this is helping someone out there listening to this. Because the previous principle, so like, the energy raising the crown of the head, expansion through the spine, um, etc., sinking the chest and expanding or rounding the back, or expansion through the back. These different principles that come before this sinking the elbows, they need to be in place so that the core structure is in place, so that your spine is where it's supposed to be, since that's like your support pole for your entire body. So that has to be there. That has to be, in place before you worry about the shoulders and the elbows. But when those things are in place, excuse me, when those things are in place, having that intention at the shoulders and the elbows changes your interactions with partners, or even with your form. If you're doing weapons forms, it changes your interaction with the movement of the weapons, so that the movements are all supported by your structure, and any external forces acting on your body are directed to the feet rather than directed in a way that pulls you off of your out of your correct structure, out of your frame, and off balance. So I think I got my point across with that. I hope I'm not repeating myself too much here, but do remember that I think I think this is kind of what inspired this. Is I've seen some practitioners, and I know that everyone does things a little bit differently, and so this is not saying that I'm the only one who knows the right way to do this, but I have seen some practitioners where they um, are almost afraid of raising the arm up, like when they're doing maiden weaves with the shuttle, and this arm is supposed to be up here, protecting the head, doing a deflection as you're doing like a counterattack with this hand. So that's the movement coming here. And it's almost like the idea of this, the shoulders have to be sunk, the elbows have to be sunk, is restricting the motion, and they keep things low because I'm going to come up a little bit here. Instead of having this, it's kind of this kind of a thing where everything has to stay low. And it's partially due to this idea that the elbows and the shoulders need to be sunk. And I think that's taking the literal statements in that principle of Tai Chi a little too far, because it's affecting the effectiveness of that movement. And I know that not everyone does Tai Chi for, with any interest in martial applications, but the origin of the movements is martial. And if you're going to do the movements, doing them more with the original intent informs how the body moves and how the structure holds. And that changes how you move, which changes your structure and transforms your body in a specific way. So if those principles aren't in place, those ideas, those original movement patterns aren't in place, then it doesn't have the same effect on the body. It doesn't have the same transformative power for you. And so when an idea like this, sinking the shoulders and dropping the elbows, is taken too literally, and the concept of that downward intent through the body and through the frame is not what's applied, then you have things where, maiden weaves with the shuttle, instead of being the full movement it should be is down low. And it doesn't mean that the lower one doesn't have its applications, because it does. But you shouldn't restrict the motion of the body because you're afraid of raising the shoulders or raising the elbows, because there are ways to put this structure up here so that it's supported by the frame. Now, if I'm here and I do raise that shoulder up, that's obviously not good. So there is a sinking down aspect there. But even though the shoulder's higher than it was before, that's not incorrect. Even though the elbow is above the shoulder physically, the downward intent has this structural support through the body that allows it to be there without compromising Taiji principles, Taiji movement, or the structure and frame of the body. So I think I've said everything I want to say with that. If there are any questions out there, feel free to drop them in the comment section. If not, I'm going to wrap this up pretty quickly. I'm going to jump over to the comments in other videos real quick one more time and just make sure there's nothing new. I don't see anything new. Cool. So I think that's all I wanted to say. I hope that was helpful for someone out there who's practicing, who was curious about the 5th principle in the 10 Taiji principles. If you find this interesting, then maybe I will do another few videos going through the other principles, the other 10 principles, and maybe expand out past those into some of the other principles that aren't in just those 10. So let me know what you think. Let me know if this was helpful. I wish you all the best. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this, and thank you for your interest and your enthusiasm in Tai Chi and Qigong. Have a wonderful evening, and we will talk again soon.